monitor. We're live. Welcome to the May 19th edition of OUYA Dev Support Office Hours. It's the 19th of May. My name is Bob, and that's Alex.
Hello.
Joining us live is via satellite, somewhere in Seattle, it's Mr. Tim Graupmann.
Hey, guys.
And we have some special guests with us today. I know one of them is the maker of Super Pixalo. Did I pronounce that right, Phil?
Yep, it's okay whether you pronounce it Pixalo or Pixalo. It really doesn't matter.
Mr. Phil Royer, or is it Royer?
Though it is does have French roots, it is Royer.
Mr. Phil Royer, everybody.
There you go. Howdy.
And then I don't know who Wes is. Tim, do you want to introduce Wes?
All right, so Wes works with me on a game we've been working on for like 9 years, Sector 13. He's like an artist, and he can talk about UV painting, UVs, low poly modeling, a lot of things that have been coming up lately.
Nice.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome
Cool.
artist.
So we have some programmers in, we have some artists in. I just opened up Q&A for anyone who wants to come in and ask questions. Otherwise, we can just hang out together and just talk about stuff. Every time we hang out, we like to start with Derp with Doherty, which is some tip from the dev support front line.
Yes, the latest tip. It's a better way. I know we should start calling it that. Tips with Doherty. No, it is to support the OUYA controller when you submit your game. We've had a couple games recently that came strictly keyboard mouse, which is cool to have that, but it also needs to support a controller because not everyone out there who owns a console has a keyboard and mouse ready in their living room. So just make sure that you include controller support, even if you also include other modes of support for your game.
Cool. Do we have any docs or anything?
We do. I don't know the web address off the top of my head, but if you go to devs.ouya.tv docs, there's a content review and guidelines section, and there's actually a copy of the checklist that our review team uses right there. You can download it and just check off our checkoff. That doesn't make sense. Before you submit, and then no problems.
Awesome. So let's transition into the follow-up segment that we like to call Grok with Graupmann. Tim Graupmann shares with us some interesting stuff.
Okay. I think the last few Hangouts we've talked about like Keystore and don't lose your Keystore, and somebody brought up like, what do you do if I lost it, right? So in that case, you know, if you've lost your Keystore and you can't find it anywhere, then you just ping us, and then we'll reset it on the server. And then that just means the users that already downloaded have to manually uninstall before they get an update. So that addresses that. So it's definitely something we can work around. It's a little inconvenient, but you can at least continue to support and submit updates.
What are Keystores for the completely uninitiated?
It's like a mechanism we use for auto updating. It's just it's a special binary file, I think.
It's almost like a password, so that you just can't have anyone else upload and update your game because they don't have the password you created for it.
Right. So every game has a package identifier which has to be unique, and it just prevents somebody else from using your same package name and putting it in the store and somebody installing on top of your game.
And we're also actually putting in safeguards because a lot of people, I think, where the root of this is coming is you can generate a debug keystore while you're testing, and then they just use that same keystore when they submit the final build instead of doing a custom one. And so actually, our server guys are implementing checks that will reject debug keystores in the future. And so that should hopefully get people on the right track from the get-go.
Yep. That happens when you install the Android SDK. It just installs a debug one for you. And so it's just not something people are used to because it always installs fine. And then they go to submit, and then that's when they get rejected, and then they realize, oh, you need to create a keystore.
Phil, have you submitted yet?
I've submitted 3 or 4 times. All of them passed. Mostly because I'll finish it I finished the game, and then Tim found a really random bug that would happen. Well, it wasn't really random. If you were offline and you hadn't ever downloaded the game, I guess, it would freak out. And then there's an Easter egg in the bonus levels that I forgot to only have go off in the bonus levels, and if they go off in any other of the worlds, it actually crashes the game. So I had to fix that. I had to re-upload it. It was just stuff that you really couldn't, like, it would be hard to test for because Easter eggs, you kind of got to know they're there. Yeah, after that, re-uploaded everything. Passed.
And so that was a loaded question because I was going to see if you kept your key. Or...
Yeah, I have my key. I have my key. I have my key emailed, GitHubbed, on a keychain somewhere. Get it tattooed on my back.
That's a good method is just to email it to yourself. Some people don't do that.
Yeah.
What happens if you don't do that? What happens if you just forget your key somewhere?
Well, like Jim was saying, you can clear it on the server, but that can cause some issues. And then,
but then wouldn't you guys say that then you have to a gamer who already had your game, they wanted to update, they have to delete your game.
They have to manually delete it in order to get the update.
Yeah.
And then the other option that some people do is to upload the new game, and then we basically create a legacy version of their old game, but they lose all their stats like ratings and uploads and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just super important.
Super duper. Gold Paladin HD Gaming came on and said hi. Hi.
Hey. I like Paladins. The first time I got a Paladin was in Quest for Glory 3, where if you had 50 honor, you got a flaming sword. But you had to play Quest for Glory 2 and then import it into Quest for Glory 3 to get enough honor to have a flaming sword to kill dragons.
What is this game?
Quest for Glory from Sierra. They did the whole like King's Quest, Police Quest, Quest for Glory.
Oh, is that the game that Fred Savage is playing in The Wizard?
I think that's Mario.
No, that's the one his little brother's playing at the end. No, not The Wizard. The game he's playing in Princess Bride. Sorry.
Princess Bride.
Wes knows what I'm talking about.
I'm right-handed or left-handed.
There's a game he's playing, and I'm pretty sure it was... Never mind.
I don't think that word means what you think it means.
I think we should give Phil some plug time, because I keep asking him about Super Pixalo, but he hasn't described it at all.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that?
I feel we should move forward with your decision.
Okay. Decision confirmed. So the floor is now to you.
What? Both of you were talking at the same time.
I concur, Doctor.
Ah, gotcha. All right, so Super Pixalo is a modern-day precision platformer about a little pixel named Pixalo, who is from like a 1960s arcade unit that's basically a modern-day karaoke unit, but I found out that the word karaoke didn't exist before like the 70s, so I just went with something else. Called it something else, but it's essentially a karaoke machine. So he's a little dot that jumps around, so he's kind of walking you through. He's not in the game. You're not jumping around words. You're jumping around through levels, and you're collecting all these different pop culture artifacts from different movies. The story really intertwines the rock and roll culture through each decade, or tries to. And yeah, you just try to complete all the levels, get all the collectibles. There are 124 levels. There are 7 worlds. There are 121 collectibles. I think I just said that already. Yeah, it's been a long. It's 5 o'clock for me, way over here in. I'm in DC, so if I repeat myself or if I start looping, just let me know. But yeah, it's a really fun little. It's got a more of a retro aesthetic. I designed it all. I developed it all. So it's not coming from a team of people. So be nice. It doesn't. It's not. Yeah, it's not developer art. It's a little better than that. It's almost pixel art. kind of like a merger between developer art and pixel art, and hopefully something better. Yeah, it's really fun. It's really hard, even for me, and I made the game. I've been playing it since August last year, and I still have trouble beating the last handful of levels. So best of luck to all of you who can take on that challenge.
How far did Tiny Pixels get on the Twitch stream last week?
She got through mid-90s, so I think she got through like level 17 of the 90s, which is good.
That's like
which is really good.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
How long did you guys stream for?
2 hours.
Whoa.
She got a huge head start because she actually got cleared all the 70s before the stream. And so she jumped in at the 80s and then went back. And of course, she went to the 80s and then the 90s. And then it's kind of like, the nice thing about Super Pixalo is, like, you jump in, you play the game. At first, it's really hard. But the more you play, you'll get better and better. Your skill will improve, not digitally, but your actual skill and the reactions to different game elements will improve. And so you can get really far, and then you go back and play those early levels, and they will take you 10 seconds flat. I mean, you'll just zip through them because you've gotten that much better at your own mechanics. And so after she went through the 90s and got stuck, she went back and zipped through the 70s I think in 10 minutes. The 70s are intentionally supposed to be fast. There aren't any negative things in there in the 70s. Like, there's nothing to stop you other than your own clumsiness. So you can, as long as you've got a good handle on moving around, getting used to the slide physics and the speed, then you can just jump around willy-nilly.
And then one more question I have before I ask Wes to talk some for you, Bill.
Sweet. What was the question? I didn't hear the question.
Is that the Oculus Rift you're wearing?
This is actually the earliest prototype of the Oculus Rift. Sometime in the mid-21st century, they created these things called anaglyph sunglasses. Well, they're not sunglasses, they're anaglyph. So when you had that nice red and cyan offset, things would appear a little weird. And right now, it's just screwing with everything on my screen.
You actually knew more about those than I did, and I learned something today. That those were called anaglyph.
Yep, remember it.
Did you know that?
It's going to be on the test.
Did you know that already?
Yes, of course I knew it, Bob.
Yeah, anaglyphs are pretty important. Well, the reason I know is because eventually there will be an Easter egg that changes everything to anaglyph in the bonus levels, and I spent about 2 weeks trying to get it to work, and I didn't get it working to what I was satisfied with, so it's not in the game right now, but it will be. I don't feel comfortable personally putting stuff into the game when I'm not totally oh yes, gung ho, go for that. So I'm not gonna put a half-hearted Easter egg in there that you hit and you're like, oh, I think it was supposed to be anaglyphs. I mean, there's the red and cyan offset, but it doesn't look that way when I put these on.
Yeah.
So.
How does that work? I would think that you'd need two cameras, and then you just blend them together, right?
Blend them, a little bit of opacity. You have to put a solid color mask on them, and then you also, to get it to look right, you have to kind of offset the cameras at a slightly different angle. Otherwise, it will just kind of look 3D from the sides, and it didn't look right in my tests. So, yeah. But essentially, you got it right, Tim.
Yeah, that's the spacing apart is probably for the bifocal effect or whatever you call that.
Yeah.
So that you can perceive, your brain will interpret however in the right places.
Brains.
Yeah. The complicated things. Hey, Wes.
Yeah.
You want to talk about Sector
13.
Yeah. I've currently been working on textures, some of the mother faction modeling and modification. We have motherships and various factions, and I've also done some special effects with them, some of the explosion effects as well. but I've probably been on the team with these guys the last year and a half or so. But yeah, it's been pretty great so far, and we're moving pretty fast at this point. We just did a game test sesh a couple days ago. Yeah.
So are you a 3DS Max guy or a Maya guy?
Maya. I've played in Max a little bit, but I've spent quite a bit of time in Maya, and I've gotten pretty fluent in Maya. I'd have to say that there's other MIDI programs and such, and like there's things like Hedis, UV unwrapping, but I've actually found that Maya's keeping up pretty good with the array of tools that I need. I can unwrap in Maya pretty easily, even if it's something like a face or a hand, provided it's not a million polygons. It's just arduous amounts of work, but it's that's arbitrary, I guess. It's a good program, and I also really like working with Photoshop. And the new version doesn't carry so quickly the 3D paint options for like scenes and textures, but I did like working that pipeline where I could, paint in Photoshop over some of my seamed edges and such. For when I created my portfolio and demo reel, and some of my own personal projects too. Something about that I find it to just be really easy and fluid. You kind of go through all these extremes sometimes to meet seam edges and such, and it's just better to look straight at it and paint exactly what you want in place.
Yeah. So we use the Unity 3D engine for that one. What's the pipeline like going from Maya to Unity?
Essentially, I work on something in Maya, and I'll concept sculpt and kind of go back and forth between that and texture checking, and then from there I will wrap everything up into a good orderly format, group everything nicely, and try to have it all labeled out appropriate, export that FBX, and usually if I'm like if there's ever a need for like instancing any of these like small objects or assets that can be made, it's good to get your one solid object created, centered out, and no transforms or anything to scale, and then when you're ready, you could even do things where you create moved null groups essentially, and you can load those null groups into your scene if you're like pre-building the scene, say in whatever these 3D programs are as a whole, and then at that point you'd have your single object centered out somewhere, or in most cases it seems to be that like when you're building out in the levels, it's nice to have some different stuff, so to kind of be placing personally. So I guess it would all depend on the project how you would want to do that part. You could just import said object as an FBX and then begin to manipulate in Unity.
So what do you use the mesh instancing for? Do you use that for mirroring, or like what does that do for you?
So if I've got one pipe that I've made and it needs to be duplicated, and it's essentially the same pipe, and it needs to be put into an entire network and say some sort of underground channel or tube, I don't want to have to always duplicate that and move it and duplicate and move it if we're, say, building the whole scene out in the other 3D program or programs. And so you would use a null group what I would do in Maya would be using a null group essentially, and that group would take the model object and it would transform it. And I would move that in the 3D program I'm building this scene out in. But each one of those groups carries all of that transform information, everything from move, scale, rotate. So I get rid of the actual object itself, and I have one main scene file that actually has that pipe centered out. And so when I take that pipe and I link those null groups in Unity to it, it moves that pipe, duplicates it, stretches it out, rotates it, everything that I did already in that 3D program previously without me needing to put forth the work once more in the scene that's being built in Unity.
All right. And then how does that correlate to the final FBX? Because so you're using mesh instancing to like duplicate geometry.
Yeah.
And then does the final FBX have everything already instanced, or does that translate to Unity somehow?
So it's that bit. You have to, once you import the object into Unity, you would then, and I actually haven't done this in a little while since some of my previous work, but then you connect the information of those null groups. You import them, I believe, and then you would connect that information to the object, and at that point it's instanced out. And in some cases, depending upon, I guess, could be a video card or other things, you'll see some of them missing when you're moving around in there. But I know what it has to do with saving on render time, so you're not having to like literally duplicate every model. It's kind of still, and the science behind this I can't entirely explain myself because I'm still working with it, but it essentially isn't needing to render all of those individually. It's almost needing to render, say, the one pipe, but it's able to duplicate those modeled images all over the place. I believe creating and duplicating one model in there still adds all of this information that's not necessary if you're only working from a single individual model in the first place. But it's been a little while since I've done that. I haven't had to do null groups for instancing in a couple of years, so I don't know if it's still a practice that's being used either.
Okay. And then there's some key information they ask all the time, like they want to know geometry counts. Like how many polygons should you put into a ship for the final before going to Unity?
Oh. Well. Yeah, actually, I can't remember off the top of my head what the Medusa was. And I'll crack that actually open right now.
Right.
And find out what that number.
So, like, would 50,000 polygons be good for an individual ship?
Tim, we all know it's all about fill rate, man.
Not all the time. It depends on how many like characters you have on screen like simultaneously. But if you want to have 300 ships like flying all over, like.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be intense. It's just that much geometry. We've actually been discussing this too, right, Tammy? We're trying to work on getting some of Sector 13 to render a little quicker and.
Can you show it, Tim? Can we see it?
What's that?
Are we allowed to see it?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, you guys can see any of the work that we've been doing. You've not seen the work, Tim. You've not shown them anything. I have them go.
No, we've seen it. I just want to show it on the office hours.
Yeah, I haven't shown it. Let me switch my inputs really quick so I can share my screen.
I'd ask Phil to show Pixalo as well. I don't know if you can pull it off.
Yeah,
yeah, it's demo time.
Yeah.
Sweet. I don't have a. If I run it on my desktop that I'm right now doing this from, it's gonna drop my frame rate really low, but it should still run. Yeah, I have a build ready. Thing. It runs on desktop, but I've got a lot of conditional stuff that I've got to fix. It's still a good couple months away before desktop release is really a thing to start making possible. The OUYAs get the first stuff.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hey Wes.
Yeah.
What is, like, if you want to get started doing what you're doing, what's a good thing to like explore? I would have put yourself in the position of someone who's relatively doesn't want to spend anything.
Sure. Well, first of all, I'd say right now there's a lot of really free and very awesome, very full, abundant programs in 3D and paint programs that are, I mean, truthfully, somebody that's kind of gone and researched a lot of what, all these programs end up costing. There's a lot of ways you can do what you need to by kind of researching these free things. And now, because you can sort of adjust, I think that, in all honesty, some of the other 3D programs that are free, or painterly programs like GIMP, it's kind of nice. You don't need to go essentially so far. And now Unity is also free. You can just sort of get a download, and you can even try things for a little while. And it's another one that's very abundant and out there. So first thing I would say is figure out what part you want to start in. Do you want a concept? Do you want a 3D model? Do you want to do painting and texturing? Like, where do you kind of already start at where you are now? Like, what's easier? Because once you get into it, then like the technique of, you know, this is how you make said texture, then export to model. Everything else is what you want to do at that point. So if you're still kind of looking to get into it, I'd kind of start there, because each one of those is something completely different. Modeling as opposed to texturing, concept work and texture work, and is, you know, different than animation. A lot of those things all take a whole different run of stuff. And there's a bunch of fun little programs now that you can do a lot of these in. Like, you know, in my case too, I went from the back end. Personally, I went to school to learn how to do it all, how to animate 2D, draw, paint, sculpt, model, then get to special effects, video games. And, you know, I've kind of come to this point where I wanted to get into film direction and game direction. And now there's programs where you can literally get characters pre-rigged that are already royalty-free, and, you know, create your own, you know, small, you know, animated short, or you know, propose and sell an idea of something, and you don't need to go through all those extents to build a model from head to toe personally. So kind of do a little research first where you want to get started, but feel the comfort in knowing there's a lot out there right now, and it makes it a lot easier than it used to be.
Can you guys wait? Sorry, really fast. Does this sound better? Does that sound different?
Yeah, you sound way better.
See, I was supposed to do this before. I read like a thing that was saying how we could make office hours better, and they're like, use a microphone. And I was like, oh, I can totally do that. And then I forgot to. And so now anyone who watched like the first 30 minutes of this office hours is going to be like,
Let's just start it over.
Yeah, let's start over, guys. Hi.
All right.
Hey.
Welcome to office hours.
Hey, I'm Tim.
Hello.
So this game is super Pixalo.
It's gotten a huge graphical overhaul in the past 4 hours.
Yeah.
This Wes did that in 4 hours. He completely created.
Actually, it was just during the conversation with you guys.
Just during the conversation, yeah.
I wanted to it's quickly demonstration here.
All right, so here's some bigger ships. Like, how many polygons did we put on these ships?
Holy crap!
They're a bit up there. I actually haven't bothered to finish opening yet. I'll tell you what I'm working with, but even still, what I sent out isn't what it's actually going to end up being, because Danny and Drew, we've had a handful of people get all over the mothership, so they vary a bit in poly count, both, I mean, literally in size, but the polys kind of correlate to that just the same. So give me a moment, I'll tell you the exact set of polys my ship ended up going out. At least Mark touched it last.
Are each one of these asteroids rendered too, or like can you fly to any one of them?
Yeah.
Show them, Tim. Show them.
I can run into them too. So we kind of have a unique pipeline, right? Like each person is responsible for a different thing. I know you guys kind of hand off, like one guy UVs, one guy textures, or a couple guys textures, and then it kicks back to like Drew for check the design and.
Yep. I personally worked on the asteroid textures, the scalable, more sandy colored asteroid textures.
Okay.
I used, and as a matter of fact, to sort of further answer your questions about, you know, programs, I used ZBrush. It's one of my favorite 3D sculpt programs. It's great. I mean, it's you know, you get the use of like a Wacom pen and tablet, sensitivity and touch. Boom.
Yeah, I've got sunglasses on. I can't see where to fly through. Don't pilot and wear sunglasses at the same time.
What's funny is because we can't see whether or not you have them, so you're not technically breaking the sunglasses rule.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Okay. Oh man.
Yeah.
So we've done like a bunch of procedural asteroid fields. A lot of them are 2D asteroids there. And then there's also 3D asteroids that you can run into. So there's several different cameras. You know what? Ryan's going to kill me. I have to hit F4 to hide that chat box. There we go.
Too late.
Yeah, too late. But yeah, so there's a lot of like billboard type of asteroids, which, it's better to render a tiny billboard than a full modeled asteroid. And then there's foreground asteroids, and there's like a star field. So these asteroids I can run into.
Nice, lost a wing there. Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, you can blow off different parts of your ship. You can shoot off different parts, and okay, so I'm flying a starfighter, and then these bigger ships are capital ships, and these turrets, it's turned off right now, but they'll shoot at you. And
This reminds me of X-Wing.
Yeah, totally modeled after X-Wing and Battlestar Galactica.
A much more beautiful X-Wing.
All right, guys, I got a better number here for you. So as far as faces, we've got 17,685. Tries are 21,080 on the version that I sent. I think it's still a bit higher than that too, the one that I sent to them.
Okay, so like for a mobile game, you want to take that 17,000 faces and you want to bring it down to probably 7,000 for an optimized mobile game. And you talked about using ZBrush. A lot of these tools you can do it inside of the inside of the modeling tool, right? So ZBrush has subdivision levels, which you just go to a higher subdivision model and it's like exponentially less polys than the previous version, and you can bake the higher level subdivision features into the lower level. Now, do you use a normal map for that or a displacement map?
Both displacement and normal, so it would all actually vary on the level of detail that you're putting into it. So if I have these asteroids that are built out and chunked and sort of, knotted, and the very fine, close detail and texture of grit and little chunky rocks and bevel and such, those are two different things. There's like a normal map is going to create that. The displacement will create the more general displaced shape that the actual model will have to make. So sort of fool you and mimic that little ridge there is a full open pockmark as opposed, to.
Yeah, because it's got the rivets in there. Now, what's the difference between a bump map and a displacement map? Because I'm flying around and I see some specular highlights. I can tell it's shiny here.
I'll give you a better description in a set of tiers. From finest to most coarse, you're going to end up going from normal maps to bump maps to displacement maps. So, and in some cases, I think you can compare and double up on like the bump or the normal, but a normal gets very close. A normal map is something that you start working with on some of the smaller fine details. A bump map can handle some of the medium to larger stuff, and then the displacement is what carries the general, again, entire polygonal shape.
Okay, so I kind of know about a bump map because that kind of tells you what light direction should come off of each face. So it's usually perpendicular to the face, so that light will bounce off. So that kind of turns like a solid shaded object into something that has depth, and you can tell it, like, you go from, oh, it's a circle to, oh, it looks like a sphere because it has the nice shading on it.
Yep.
And then displacement map is more like, I was flying over here, and there's this long rivet or divot or whatever you want to call it along the length of the ship, and I think you'd have to...
I think that's just done differently. That's probably a normal map, if anything. I mean, you could make it a bump map, and there's a hazy region in there. It's lacking though in detail. So with your normal map, you get the entire RGB definition of what's going on in your more minute deformations. But then with a bump map, it's fairly similar. But it is working with just grayscale. It's working with just, from white to black and the various shades gray in between. So it's sort of locked in like that, and I would say bump maps, of course, work so much better for hard surface detail and texture, and normal maps work brilliantly better for pores on a face and smaller fine grit and scrapes and scars and such.
Alright, and I think I see some glow maps and emissive maps in here. That's how the lights are lit.
Boom.
Or it could be just... Yeah. So that's a little bit about Sector 13. Maybe we should show some Pixalo.
Yeah. Pixalo.
Pixalo. Yeah, how do I say it?
You
Pixalo.
can say whatever you want. It doesn't matter. You originally always pronounced it Pixalo, but everyone reads it Pixalo. So
That's how I was saying it.
you know, however you interpret it, that is up to you, man.
No, Bob, he's wrong.
I was saying Pixalo with the emphasis on the O.
All right, let's turn on my controller.
Oh, Tim's gonna play. Cool. So you don't have to, Phil. So you can just tell us a bit.
Yeah, I can just talk a bit. You wanna? I don't know if you can anchor it onto his screen so it doesn't keep popping out of mine.
Oh, you got to click on me, Bob.
Done.
All right, sweet. So yeah, here is the game. So you got a nice, simple. Yeah, let's see. Oh, you've made it to the 90s. Nice. Yeah, so everything is segregated into like decades, except for the training and bonus levels. The training is technically based off of the 60s. It's got kind of more of a pastel, a lighter colored look. We'll just, since he's playing the 90s, I'll just talk about the 90s a bit. This is kind of modeled after those, off of the early like 90s games that I remember playing when I first started playing video games. Just a real neon. You're a pro at that, man.
Yeah, you suck.
I'm gonna try not to cuss, and so we don't get the
But
explicit.
this is. I'm seeing like a lot of like Saved by the Bell colors and like Hammer Pants colors.
Oh yeah, the neon. Well, I mean, first of all, you've got the purple, the neon, very 90s colors. You saw those a lot with those, you know, those jackets and that everybody wore back then. I think they even had a snowsuit that looked like that.
They're coming back.
They are. The hipster people are bringing them back.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, Bob, it's up to you, man.
You're welcome, Phil.
This is all on the weight of your shoulders. You need to bring this neon back.
I don't know. I still feel like the 80s haven't died entirely yet, too. They're still.
They haven't. There's so much great stuff in the 80s.
Yeah.
I love the 80s. I was born in the 90s, so that's all I know. But all the stories I hear of the 80s is fantastic.
Dark Crystal forever.
Yeah. So let's see. What else to talk about?
So you made an immensely frustrating game.
I made an immensely frustrating game because everybody loves a frustrating game. Yeah, I wanted to make a real precision, difficult platformer with a really simple concept, and that's that you're just a pixel, a little square. You can jump around. It's really difficult because of the lack of friction. Because he doesn't have any arms or legs. I mean, if you think about it in a digital world, I guess physics doesn't natively,
Tim's pretty good.
you know, act in a digital world. So I was just like, all right, we'll make them all slippery and slidey, make people mad. I'm trying to see what collectible this is. Oh yeah, this is that one.
Will, can we? When does this launch?
Oh, it launches tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and that would mean noon my time, which is Eastern Time. It launches.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It launches for $3. It's on sale for the first week. Normally, it's gonna be $5. You get 124 levels, 7 worlds, 121 collectibles, and I'll be adding tons of extra stuff. I love when you get like extra free DLCs, so I'm just gonna build that all into the game. So you buy it once and you get all the extra content for free.
So
whenever that comes around.
You know what we should do, Phil?
All right, what should we do?
We should, like when the game launches, we should do like a speed run challenge. And the first person to like take a picture of end game screen can win something.
Awesome! I love that idea.
Because then everyone will be like trying to rush through it and then just die a bunch, and like then we'll find some prodigy too, some gaming prodigy.
Well, my intention here, and the reason I don't have a timer or a score right now is because I actually get really stressed out by games with timers and stuff, and so I wanted to release it first without, so that people could kind of get used to it, enjoy Enjoy just playing around in the. Man, you are having the hardest time with this level.
I got
going
up to
so
the top.
fast. Going like insanely fast.
I was at the top and then I slipped down and
that's the story of Pixalo. You're at the top, then you slip down. The man's always going to get you down.
No.
Hey Phil, Josh Feinsilber is asking what game this is.
Oh, this is Super Pixalo. Pick it up tomorrow for $3. It is dirt cheap because you guys have been amazing during the whole 10 months of development. I actually developed it as a case study as to what could, well, one, because I like games, and I wanted to make one beyond just a web game. But also, this followed my senior project at college, which I just graduated this past Saturday.
Congrats.
Yeah.
That was all about basically what the business world of an independent developer who has never made anything before of note, or never sold anything before, I should say. I've made a total of $8 doing games in the last year and a half. So I was like, yeah, it's time to actually see what I can do, you know, if I do something a little bit more substantial. So actually in a few months I'll be releasing a case study on the entire process from start to finish on what one person can do. I paid Saad Ali to do the music, but besides that it was just me doing everything. And it was a crazy process, one that I don't think I'll do a project this big alone for quite a while, because it was every free moment, every weekend, every evening, every spare moment was devoted to this game in the last 10 months. So,
Sam, no.
I think I just cheated. I thought I was going to fall in and I paused it and the brick came over.
No way. Try that again.
yeah, that's actually on purpose. That's kind of an Easter egg.
No!
Oh my gosh.
There you go. It is hard to watch. I was cringing the whole time Tiny Pixels was doing it. She did fantastic. I'm surprised that she wasn't, she didn't turn into a sailor, cursing right and left, because everybody else does. You hear language you don't hear everybody say when they play this game.
Any chance for personalizable Pixalo faces? Like sweet mustaches and sunglasses and stuff?
Absolutely. There is a chance for a million different things to happen. I just would say that keep in mind it's just me, so it's going to take time. This isn't my job, so this is what I do as a hobby. So I'll push updates probably at a bi-weekly thing with new features and new, like a face changer. Next big thing is
Tim.
You're so close. So close. This is one of the easier ones of the 90s too.
I mean, not to evangelize or anything, but that's one thing that's awesome about OUYA is you can put out a version of your game and then hit on it really easily.
Yeah, and that's what I plan on doing. Yay, you got it.
Get it!
You guys get that collectible, right?
Yeah, I didn't forget the collectible.
What is it? Oh, I didn't get the reference. I didn't get to see it.
There's a collectible. I didn't miss it.
Yeah, but is it like a joke?
It's a reference. Yeah, did you guys get the movie reference?
I didn't see it. Was it The Last Starfighter?
No. It was a mug. The hint was TPS reports.
Oh.
Oh.
Him cheating. He's totally cheating.
Oh.
Well, he totally missed the collectible, so and then he falls right off. That is on. I kept that in, that the platforms move when you pause, because I wanted to see people try to cheat and totally fail. It's near impossible. It is possible to do it, but it's really it's almost harder than it's worth it to like get it lined up right.
Yeah.
Because the screen kind of covers a whole bunch of your screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pause menu. There you go. You got and he died. But yeah, anybody have any questions? Anything you guys like to know? Oh, I built it all in LibGDX. I should probably say that.
Yeah,
I was going to preface that. I was going to say, what engine did you use?
I didn't use an engine. I used a framework, and the difference is it basically LibGDX provides the tools for integrating with the hardware, and that's about it. And they have a bunch of extra stuff that I didn't use. They have stuff for physics. They have box 2D integration. They have like stuff for tile map generation of levels. I made my own level generator thingy, not generator, but process for making levels.
Is it? So I've always been saying LibGDX. Is it LibGDX?
I have no clue.
Me and you pronounce words differently, man.
Yeah, everybody does. Well, you know, Pixalo, so there you go. Tomato.
So we have documentation for LibGDX. Did you check it out? Was that any help at all?
Yeah, he helped me add some stuff to the LibGDX document.
Back in the day, not at all, actually. Back in last September when I was first trying to use it, there was like a link to it, and that was the documentation. So I spent a good month just learning stuff, learning how to use it, learning how to write. I wrote my own physics engine, which I will never do again, because it took like 6 months to finally get it so you didn't have random bugs. Mm-hmm. It was awful. I never want to do that again. But
would you ever consider releasing your physics engine as like a plugin of itself?
It's so simple. Like the whole physics engine is about 30 lines of code.
Oh, Tim.
And it's very specific to Super Pixalo. So it wouldn't actually help out anyone. It's all just, you know, collision detection and stuff like that, and then its own physics. I'm planning on writing some tutorials on using LibGDX to make OUYA games, and that will be in there. I think Tim put up the video that Mario, the creator of LibGDX, created, that actually goes through creating a Flappy Birds clone using LibGDX. It takes maybe a half hour to 45 minutes. It's really easy to get set up. The thing I love about LibGDX is that it's very flexible in that you can either use all the tools they provide you, or you can basically just use the bare minimum and create all your own, which I did a lot of just so I could learn how to do it. Not because I was trying to be efficient, but just because I didn't know how to do it and I wanted to learn. And that's how I kind of approach every project with the games, because I don't usually have a time limit. This was a different story because I actually had to complete it by the end of my senior year, because I had to write the 85-page case study on it. It was long. It took forever, but I turned it in and it got an A. So, nice. And now all my professors and all the faculty know what an OUYA is.
And everyone watching now knows you know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, I've been tricking them. Really, I don't know. I'm just Wikipediaing things. Who's this Phil Royer? What did he do? It's the glasses. They give me special powers, actually.
Yeah,
they do.
They do.
I feel better about it. So.
Do you have any levels on here with your 3D stuff yet?
I don't, because I didn't put it in the game I submitted for review. I'll put it in. I'm thinking I'll do an update next week to if anybody runs into any bugs. They shouldn't. I mean, I play tested the heck out of this thing, and I spent way too many nights up at like 2 to 3 a.m. just playing it. And man, if you think it's hard when you're like awake at 5 p.m., try playing it at 2:30 a.m. Oh man, but yeah, this level's hard, but it's all about timing and precision. And actually, Tiny Pixel's got this. She spent a half hour on this level, and then
no, I figured it out. I'm gonna use that Easter egg.
It takes a while. You have to wait for it.
Hacker.
See, you won't be able to do this with the timer. Because the pause, when I do implement the pause, the timer, the pause is not going to stop it, just to stop cheaters like Tim here.
with the timer, are you going to build in achievements or something like that?
Yeah, I liked what Matt Thorson did for Towerfall, where he had like you have like the first tier of like you get it in within this certain amount of time, you get a little like I don't know what it was like a crystal, and then you do it in like the other whatever it was like the advanced thing, you get their little star or something like that. So I might do something like that. There's a ton of options, really.
I was thinking you should have a non-timer version where you just can't earn the rewards. Because I always get stressed out as well, and then I just put it down and say, I didn't want to play that anyway.
Yeah. Well, probably what I'll do is I'll have it so you have to go into settings to turn on the timer.
Okay.
I'll have like a speedrunner settings or whatever. I did create 3 training levels. When you go into the actually, Tim, if you don't mind, popping out of here and going to the training and preparation.
But I'm almost to the collectible.
He's doing so well, but he's really stressing me out.
It's stressing me out too. I'm gonna get ulcers watching this.
It'll be your fault, Phil. You made this game.
I know I made this and it's hard. And this is just the 90s. The next 60 levels are insane.
How did
never mind. Okay, fine. Menu.
So did you play test? I mean, you obviously had to play test each of these levels.
Yep. I started designing the levels last year in November, and so I finished designing them last week. All the bonus levels I designed just last week, and those are more of just like sort of I had all these notes. I have a big notebook of notes that I jot down and like, hey, it would be cool if this level was actually really short, but like you had to be spot on every jump, and so stuff like that. All the bonus levels are kind of me just doing sadistic torture to the player in a creative way. And if you go back, so if you click save or just press A for back, Tim, his mic is muted, so he's probably cussing at me.
I'm done cussing. Now what?
All right, sweet. Go back. Press A.
We see your Elgato sideline stuff too, Jim.
Yeah, it's because I moved my mouse. Hang on. F10.
All right,
Okay.
play, and then training and prep.
Okay.
While he's doing that, Aaron says that we're awesome. Thanks for saying that, Aaron.
You guys are awesome. This has been. I didn't catch a lot of the early open office dev hours because I was too busy either at work or deving. So now it's like great to have the time to enjoy these or be on them, which is cool. So okay, so in this screen I have these optional levels, and what those levels are, if you click on any of them and go into any of them, they're basically the core mechanics of what you jump around and stuff. And they're really simple, but what they are is so that you can warm up. So if you're about to speed run, you can run through these and get your fingers all warmed up. Because this is, I mean, like if I don't play the a level or play any of the game for like a week, I get horrible. But if I play every day for 20 minutes, I can race through it really quickly. And it's just that kind of game. It's like when you play Super Meat Boy, you can't just pick it up and then beat the entire thing one go. Like it's practice and precision and taking breaks, and this is kind of trying to be almost in a way a little easier, simpler Super Meat Boy for the OUYA audience, because there isn't really a precision platformer, at least that I know of. I've been looking for like other precision platformers just to see how they've handled certain game mechanics. But I think there was one called Mosaic that was more of a puzzle platformer. What were some of the other ones? There's Towerfall, Duck Game, but those are local multiplayer. I'm a big fan of single player, and I don't know, maybe I'll change my mind in a month and make a multiplayer game, but I really like making single player games that are about spending a lot of time alone working on trying to complete something.
So my question, is there a sprint button in your game to make him go faster?
Nope. No, it's very, very simple.
I gave up on Super Meat Boy until someone told me there was a sprint button, and then that changed everything for me.
You didn't know there was the sprint button?
I forgot.
You can't get past the first level without sprint.
You can't get past like anything without sprint.
I
Wow,
got,
I'm impressed.
I got to the level with the giant saw blade chasing you.
Oh, you barely even got in, dude.
I know, and then you know, things change and you learn. It's a
You know
learning
there are 360 levels in Super Meat Boy, right?
process.
Oh wow.
So
last
you basically like just like put your finger in the top of the margarine container.
I'm on
like-
like the third world now, and I just gave up because I'm not coordinated enough to to get past it.
Well, maybe this will be a little bit easier for you to break in. It's still hard, but it's not that hard.
Okay.
It's not as hard as Super Meat Boy because I only got through 2 worlds of Super Meat Boy, and I go back to that game every month, trying to get farther, and I just
Tim, you gotta try something else.
What they say about
go to the 80s, Tim.
So wait, what time era is this one?
This is kind of like the training is kind of like the 60s, so you've got kind of more of that almost pastel, more muted colors
Yeah, it's the
that you saw more in like
Brady Bunch brown and orange colors.
yeah, so you see a lot more of that. The film style is more of how old movies are from you know the 1960s, and in the 70s you got a lot more bolder yellow. And the brown that I modeled after my grandmother's furniture that everything was.
Garfield orange, brown.
I know that color,
Where's the
man.
fluorescent?
Yeah, everybody does. It's like, hey, your grandmother's house, that like living room table, it was that color. Everybody has that.
Is the 1950s level just like a bunch of cigarette smoke?
Oh, it's black and white.
I don't have a 1950s level, but I could make one just for you, Bob. I'll name it Bob, and it will just be cigarette smoke. And you can't even see Super Pixalo is a lung in that's just dying. There's just you can never beat the level because you die too quickly from breathing in all the smoke.
Oh man, time is flying by, so we should rush through our end game or our end show stuff. We talk about what games we played for the week. If you want to go first, Phil.
I played on the OUYA or anything.
Anything.
Okay, it's Monday. I haven't played anything on Monday.
Well, last week.
Oh, last week. I love the Battlefield series, so I've been trying. When it doesn't crash, I love playing Battlefield 4. Unfortunately, every 40 minutes it crashes and freezes my PS3. So I guess there's a memory leak somewhere. But so that I played a lot of when I wasn't getting frustrated at trying to get that to work. Then I was playtesting a lot of Super Pixalo. I played a lot of Super Pixalo, and I still love playing Super Pixalo. So hopefully, to anybody who's listening, who is like, "Oh, this looks like an interesting game," but I bet it's a game you get tired of pretty fast. I made the game. I've been playing it for 10 months now, and I still love playing the game. So hopefully that will make some people want to buy it tomorrow at noon. Buy it. The more copies I sell, the more I'll have the freedom to spend more time adding to it, like adding levels. I plan to add a whole lot more levels just for the heck of it, just because everybody loves more hard levels, right?
Yeah, totally. You know, in your story, you did this by yourself. You've got a regular job, and you can still make a game. So you can make an awesome game too. So the
Thank you.
Guys out there with like 5 guys doing it full time, you can make something this awesome.
You can do it if you're one dude in high school or in middle school. You can go to the New Boston, learn how to program in Java, grab some LibGDX tutorials. There's even a book that's actually pretty good. I bought the book and I was surprised that it's actually not a bunch of total crap. It's actually really good, really detailed. I got it mainly because it has really good descriptions of how to use tile maps, Box 2D, and shaders. And I tried doing shaders, and this game is like Super Pixalo is back to the old simple, like you don't have shaders, you don't have any wacky animations, there's no cutscenes. Just enjoy the game, every bit of it. You own it. It's all yours.
Yeah, so guys and gals jump in and start making games, huh?
Do it. It's worth it. Every bit worth it. So much fun.
Wes, what did you play last week?
Sector 13, for sure. I would say that's obviously the most recent and frequently played game. But I also have been getting into the Devil May Cry and Remember Me games recently. I played Devil May Cry a couple weeks ago. But honestly, Sector 13 most recently.
Weird.
I like that. I like that sort of fast pace. You know, kind of like driving straight through the game with awesome detail, texture, and information. So I get kind of lost in a lot of the art personally, as someone who does a lot of the same thing in any of the games I play. Yeah, if I can get to doing some more multiplayer, Sector 13 will be something we'll be playing a lot of coming up. So. Oh. I actually can't hear you on your side.
Hey Bob, you gotta click away from me, otherwise it'll be focused like right here. Otherwise it.
I see his mouth moving.
Yeah. As I say,
You're doing this, and we're hearing this.
Yes, that's your face.
It's like you're stuck
shaking your head now.
Yeah, just
like
unplug your mic, plug it back in, and then hit the gears, and then set it up. So I played lots of Duck Game. Found the level editor, was playing with the level editor. That's pretty slick. Something you can do with the kids.
I saw the video of your son building the
Yeah.
level. That was awesome.
Yeah, I went in there and he's got like this level with like thrusters everywhere.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, you're coming in.
You couldn't even. Bob couldn't hear me telling him that you couldn't hear him. I don't even know what that's
Sorry.
That's a hardware problem.
I played Stick of Truth, and I'm stuck where Randy's trying to teach you how to fart, and I was stuck there for like 30 minutes.
He's been complaining about this all day.
All day. I'm so upset at this game. I don't know how this game shipped with this experience. But John's suggesting that maybe my controller's broken. I'm gonna give it one more shot before I'm just like, I'm out.
It reminds me of trying to break a horse in Red Dead Redemption. And you have to use the left stick to rein in your horse, but the prompt is on the right side of the screen, so I was using the right stick. And I was like, this is stupid. But that was my fault.
Yeah.
I've
just have issues with your brain side.
Potentially.
You were doing that with that other game. What did you play, Slex?
I've been doing double legendary loot Diablo week.
Oh my
It's
god.
the anniversary or whatever. So
Yeah, Alex still plays.
my DPSs.
Alex still plays Diablo.
It's an okay thing. People are allowed to play what they like.
That's true. Stop liking things I don't like. Okay, and then so we go. So Phil and Wes, you're new to this game. So what we do is we go around really quickly, say the most delicious thing we ate in the last week, and then I rank it, and the winner wins. Ready? Wes.
a green pepper, red pepper, chopped onion, and black bean with hot sauce omelet.
Ooh, not bad. Okay, Phil.
I've got to show you what I ate, because you're never going to believe it. My big sister made a super Pixalo cake.
Oh!
That was amazing.
Whoa.
Check that out. It's actually like a cube.
Wow.
And it was like a foot by a foot, and we have this. It was so good. It was amazing.
Of course.
This is the new precedence. Now we have to show our food.
We've never.
All right. I took a picture of my food. Hang on.
Who are you people?
Shenanigans.
Why have I not got pictures of my food already?
Anytime now, Tim.
Yeah.
Kill me, Tim. I'm getting hungry over here.
Oh, here we go. Got to flip through all my pictures. Get ready for it.
I'm so
Wait
ready.
for it. Wait for it.
It looks
You're
like
definitely a dad.
Tim's dancing. He's like,
If you have to shift through that many pictures from last week.
Killing me.
yeah, you gotta name it. But yeah, what Alex just said.
Tim, are you like photographing every meal of the week?
Well, it's because he's been losing. He loses every week, but he's been eating
Yeah.
things like a cinnamon stick or like a single blueberry. So now he's. Are you drawing? You're drawing, huh?
Oh, here we go. It does have a thumbnail view. There we go.
Oh, this is gonna be. While Tim's doing that, do you?
Yeah, yeah.
want Okay, you go, Alex. While Tim's doing that.
All right. I had some Afghan cuisine last night. It was really good. It was very tender lamb with a spinach on rice dish with some delicious bread on the side. It was good.
It's like baby sheep.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I didn't check before they cooked it, but you know.
Oh wait, here we go. Here's Tim. What?
All right. So yeah, I've got cherries on my cherry tree now.
Ah.
So I will be eating these. Other than that, I just had a regular torta.
A
which is pretty
torta.
good. A torta.
Okay.
Oh, that's a nice.
It's like a sandwich with
I know.
jalapenos in it.
I'm familiar.
Yeah, good.
I had chicken satay, which is like chicken on a skewer, the peanut butter sauce. No? And like a Greek salad. Oh! Change that. Sorry. I accidentally ordered this Greek salad. It was amazing. So I was like, I'll just get a shawarma salad with like not a shawarma, a gyro salad with like just spring greens. And I ordered that, but she gave me Greek salad, which was like cucumber and the tomatoes, and I was bummed out, like, oh, this isn't what I wanted. Amazing.
Congratulations.
It was amazing. And I would give myself the win, but I'm gonna give it this week to Mr. Phil Royer.
Yeah.
Woo! I'll let my big sister know. She'll be proud.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. I mean, we don't always have OUYA game themed cakes,
That's true.
so it's only natural.
Have we ever had one before?
That's the first.
This is the first.
Can you tweet
Alright.
that? We can retweet it.
Yeah, I
Phil?
will tweet it to. I'll tweet it to you, Bob.
Do it to @PlayOUYA as well.
I play you. Yeah. All right.
So what
and I'll
kind of
give you-
cake was it? Was
I
it
know
chocolate?
It was like I don't know what kind. It was just delicious. It was it wasn't chocolate. Inside it was more of like a bread type thing, but it was so good. It is good. I have half of it left, and I've been eating it. Me and my wife have been eating a ton of it.
Did you do cake Inception, where you just cut it into cubes and it was like cakes inside of cakes?
It basically, Pixalo is missing half his head right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well
All
done.
right.
Okay, well, so then I'm going to go around the room and say goodbye to everyone. When I say your name, make a noise so it cuts to you, okay? So, for example, I'll say goodbye, Alex.
Goodbye, Alex.
It's not switching to you. It's stuck on left side and.
No, that's you. Okay, and then I'm going to say bye, Tim.
Bye.
Bye, Wes.
Later.
And then by tomorrow is Super Pixalo on sale on OUYA, Mr. Phil Royer.
Goodbye and buy it.
But those are spelled differently. Everybody.
Yes. That's the joke.
Okay. Okay. Well, it's been a great hour. Until next time, we'll see everybody next week for another fantastic thing that we do. Bye, everybody.